lu nggak tahu orang helmet.
Halo Mas,
Halo.
Kita marketing agensi Mas. Tapi kita marketing agensi. Tapi kita emang mau kita menggunakan brand sama influencer di sosial media di Nike.
Iya, nanti
Kakak beli laptopnya pakai aplikasi purchase kita. Ketika kakak bikin PO, otomatis ada draft tanda terima. Draft tanda terima laptop 50 bit. Nah, nanti pembayarannya gimana?
Kami
Ketika
ya, Pak.
kakak udah terima barang, iya silakan Pak. Ketika bapak udah terima barang, nanti kakak bisa bayar. Tinggal misalnya kakak udah bayar, yang kita kakak input pembayarannya di sistem. Itu tadi baru sales-sales seputar B2B nih. Gimana misalnya kalau retail, ini kan kakak punya toko ya?
makasih ya Kak.
Misalnya tadi kita udah beli
Oh ya, sorry. Boleh minta nggak? Pergi deh. Thank you. Gak kecap sih. Sakti guys, sakti. Oh, iya.
Simple, yeah. What they was good.
Cameron.
Okay.
But for our solutions, it's actually direct to the recipients. Thank you. Is there any more questions? Okay, thank you so much for your time. If you have time, please go visit our booth in G01. The first time when you make the entrance, we're actually here. There, broadcast is very big. So once again, thank you so much and good afternoon.
Enak aja. Aku nggak ada kak.
So that's why it's important for us to have this. But for me, online is actually tracking the balance. I mean, if we talking about academic, I think during academic, of course, almost like close to 100% still would be from platforms. But then now we see that trend shifting. Now more walk-ins. So I think it's striking that balance, like how much is platforms, how much is your walk-in. You want on one hand, of course, you see your platforms giving you additional sales, but then on the other hand, you don't want it to be too dependent on that.
Because the margin was crazy, commission is high. Cool. Let's go back into the questions from pre-COVID and during COVID. What changed back then? Because I think both of you guys, both Politic and Politic started before the pandemic. Then you guys have been through a pandemic, and at that time I think you guys just mentioned that majority of your revenues before pandemic, I assume, coming from your own outlets, and that's then completely shifted when the lockdown happens. Is there anything else that you guys saw changes between the pre-COVID and now today? James, maybe you want to go?
I think during COVID, of course, 100%, almost 100% transformed the platform, but then now, platform is probably 20-30%. And that number is actually even lower prior to pandemic. I think for certain reasons, I think one, people are just locked up for 2 years due to social health. I think that's one. And then secondly, I think the landscape is also different. Right? I think you mentioned it yourself. Commission is higher, and probably not only commission, but then the subsidies and these platform everything are probably lower. And then some delivery fee of course increases. That's why the output source, like the business you see, is actually very important for you.
I think I believe something happening in the customer behavior. For the past few years, people are started to enjoy ordering coffee from their phone. I believe that's something that's now still carried over. People, I don't think we can live without our coffee. So that's actually what's happening now. And having the platform, the other platform to help us, I think that's still supporting the business. Like it or not. People, Politic coffee is still small. We are only 150 stores. Unlike our brother business, we have so many stores. So, but we still need the platform to help us to reach out to people out there that's not close to our stores. So that's what's happening now. And but then on the other hand, with the tech-savvy people nowadays, it helps also to grow our price. That's what.
But did you see more and more during the coffee there? Did you see more and more home barista taking up your shares, or people just too lazy to make their coffees at home?
Well, like I said, the more the merrier. The more competition to come in Indonesia, then the Indonesian people will learn that this is a good cup of coffee, and this is a cup of coffee that they can enjoy everywhere. The question is that can us as a provider, as a producer, as also can help Indonesian people to grow in a good quality of coffee, and then the high value coffee that they can enjoy everywhere. I think that's the key, because we are still low in terms of the
1.1 kilograms per person, right, for Adam. Cool. Well, I think that's very interesting. So I also notice, right? I was just I live in Kuningan areas. You just opened these big super spaces in Kuningan cities with so many Ks. You have all the Kenangan heritage and stuff. So start to kind of see that initially I was thinking that okay, it's a grab and go concept. People come, people buy, people go. But I think you guys now getting more and more or bigger and bigger spaces. And is that how you guys see the business today and react to the business today? That pandemic is ended, and then people going back to home, going out, and then like working from anywhere, working from cafes. Are you guys reacting to that, or is this like the plan since the very beginning? To have an experience outlets as well.
Well, coffee is a commodity, that's one thing. But then, on the other hand, coffee is a lifestyle business. So, people enjoy coffee, you can sit alone in a coffee shop, just in front of your laptop or just in front of your phone, to type something or to book, Or you just, you can sit alone and then think about yourself and then think about your future and plan something about yourself. Or you can have a chat with your friend or a meeting over there, or it's just something to hang out with. So that's the part. That's the lifestyle part of the coffee. And actually, after the pandemic, now it becoming pandemic, and people started to go. And moreover, with the working from hybrid is still ongoing nowadays, for some companies of course. And then the behavior of the customers, the behavior is different. That's not just okay. I'm working from home, but also I'm working from the office, but also I have now the third place, which is the coffee shop. It helps to boost the discipline. So that's what coffee, the Politic coffee came in. We are there to help the people of Indonesia to enjoy a good cup of coffee, and they can sit, and they can enjoy and they can experience the Politic coffee. Actually, the one in Indonesia is only not even 100 square meters. It's only 90 square meters.
Is it the main lobby?
Yeah, thanks to the Indonesia people I got to get the location. But then it helps the people to enjoy and see and be seen, so that the people can see on the import coffee, and they can see what happened in the surroundings.
You want to add this?
From our end, we started as Grab and Go. Grab and Go DNA is still very big in us. But then, I think you brought up the point that now you see some coffee brands actually getting bigger. To be honest, it's as simple as maximizing profit. We actually have our own internal technology when we, like a heat map GIS system and our proprietary data data when we fix locations. So it's as simple as that, right? Whether when we put in all these parameters, should we open a coffee Kenangan that's Grab and Go, or should it be the one that's bigger where there are a lot of walk-ins, a lot of people are sitting. So for us, it's just a matter of maximizing profit. And then maybe on top of that is, again, when we first started, no one really knows about us. So is it really cool to say like coffee Kenangan? We don't know. But then now, we've known all over Indonesia. That's why it makes sense for us to have a coffee, because the brand is stronger.
Now, I think I want to give you a direct questions from this one word that's super hype on the startups recently, which is profitability. Right? You guys running coffees. Selling coffees is actually something that has been done for 120 years, in the market. And I think historically, everyone is actually profitable and stuff. Where are you guys with this one secret keywords here, profitability? So Patiko, maybe you want to go first,
Well, I'm an accounting guy.
Ah, nice.
I'm a number guy. So to me, profitable is a must when building a company, because the company has to be sustainable on its own. That's important. So that's why, for instance, I'm not the original founder of Politic Coffee actually.
Yeah.
So I joined Politic Coffee in Q3 2020. So it was during the pandemic. But then a year after I joined, when we were profitable.
Oh wow.
Politic Coffee started to be profitable up until now. We are even bigger and bigger now. Our profits is even bigger and bigger. So and then we started to build our own stores using our own money in 2021 and also 2022 even.
Oh wow.
So that's Politic Coffee, because we're not just with Politic Coffee. We introduce eco-friendliness, we introduce sustainability. We want to be part of the ESG. So
and then we've invested all over Southeast Asia, which includes, in our case, Singapore, Indonesia, Vietnam, Philippines. We have businesses that also do work in Malaysia and Thailand, but don't operate out of Malaysia and Thailand. So let's juxtapose against India, because I think Indonesia, India, that's everybody here talk about. That's what people get excited about. Much smaller population, but much wealthier. So Indonesia is between $4,000 and $4,500 per capita income. India is about half of that. So really the delta is quite significant. And that has a huge implication on the ability to consume brands versus consuming things. I think maybe unfairly about each market individually. So while it's nice to talk about Southeast Asia as a monolithic creature, the reality is if you go from Indonesia to Thailand, you don't speak the same language, you pray to different gods, you transact in different currency, you have meaningful differences in food preferences, meaningful differences, almost all kinds of preferences. Right? So whenever I hear people talk about a regional brand, my advice to them is let's try to become a country champion first. And the good news with Indonesia and Indonesian founders or Indonesia-focused founders is your market is deep enough. You know, we have this conversation at Saturdays all the time, when and if you should go outside of Indonesia. Well, we barely scratched the surface. So there's a lot of work to be done, and I would encourage all founders to really think about their home markets first, right? Before you start thinking about the region.
Thank you for that, Samuel. So I think founders in Indonesia are certainly very fortunate to have that deep market and large population. Something that someone like me from Singapore can only dream about. So moving on to Cindy, and perhaps a very topical issue that's been on everyone's lips recently, TikTok Shop and the ban of selling merchandise on TikTok Shop. Cindy, you've mentioned a few months ago in an interview with my colleague Jofi that your brand was actually seeing significant growth from selling on TikTok Shop. Could you share with the audience what impact the ban has had on your sales, and what are your views generally about this decision?
I'm sure that everybody was impacted with the closure of TikTok, right? Not only foreign brands, they also help local brands like us to grow. Although that their contribution to our business is not yet significant compared to our other channels, we did experience a huge
Let's reward
Iya, bulan dari belum ambil ya? Ya bulan dari belum?
Komar udah ada, udah dari
belum. Kevin yang udah salah. Kevin yang udah. Kevin Tran kan, udah kan? Kevin Tran kan, udah. Tiga belas guys gua. Dia udah hinggap kan? Tuhan Yesus, kaki gue, main gua copot deh. Lagi, kayak paling. Banget. Trans Jakarta sama tutup karena betul. Gua cari yang lain. Ya mati lah. Cengkareng ke Kandres. Tapi GBK kan GBK ada Kandres langsung kan. You hope ya. Kan tadi gue harus GBK, beda GBK aja. Terus satu kok ada, udah.
LO kakak.
Oh, oke, kalau dia
Sapta.
kamu dari Indonesia-nya apa dari expired ya?
Kebetulan politik doang sih.
Oh, oke.
Mau langsung ke base course atau mau makan dulu? Udah
Aku
dulu sih.
kamu mau ketemu mati-mati dulu sih di Bank Frontier mereka.
Oh, berarti langsung aja ya? Udah ya. Sapta.
depan aja Kak.
Oh, udah depan aja. Partinya ini
Daripada pasang di website ada ya, daripada
Tapi harus
all at once at the same time is very, very hard. I know as an investment board member, why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? We can do all of it. Every time you add another angle of attack, you risk diluting focus. And in the early days, you have to be extremely focused. The market is plenty deep, especially in these large categories of relatively high purchase frequency and relatively low order values. A lot of people can access you. Focus on the 2 or 3 things that you can do better than most. And you'd be surprised how far you can get just with that, right? So I think this lack of focus is a constant theme across many founder groups. And I'm grateful you haven't asked me about regionalization yet, but that tends to be the other one. I can't tell you the number of times I've seen a pitch deck that says, we will be in Indonesia year 1, Thailand year 2, Vietnam year 3, will dominate Southeast Asia in 5 years. Good luck. Good luck.
And well, actually, I think this is probably the answer to the next question I have for you. I mean, it's on regionalization and there is a temptation to expand, wanting to go regional. I think we've heard you say that if you are able to just focus on 1 or 2 things in your own market and do those well, do that first. Having said that, are there examples of brands that have managed to expand, in the region and what?
Well, for sure. For sure, yeah. Right? I mean, Indonesia has one great example that will speak to many of you, which is Wardah. Right? But Wardah spent the first 15, 20 years only worrying about Indonesia and not doing anything else. And I know Wardah feels like an older brand, and it is indeed an older brand, but in the scheme of beauty brands, it's still quite young, right? Estee Lauder, L'Oreal, these brands have been around for 100 plus years. This is still relatively new. So the question is not, should you regionalize? I think the question is, when should you regionalize and what are the starting conditions to be able to do so successfully? My suggestion to everyone is attempt to become a country champion first. And we can argue about what country champion means. In the beauty category, which I'm somewhat familiar with, if you can get to 3, 4, 5% market share, you've done amazingly well. Amazingly well. And at that point, you will have a profitable business, and you will have a lot of options on how you go to Malaysia, how you go to the Middle East, how you go to all the options that Cindy and her team will have in front of them. But please don't do it on day one. It's hard enough to win at home when you know everybody, you have your contacts, you have access. Try doing that in a foreign country. It's really, really hard. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's really, really hard. And the more you have to interact with the physical world, the harder it is, right? So I think finding some balance, finding a playbook that works for you in your home market before you start getting adventurous is quite important. Having said that, there are examples of brands that have been able to regionalize. Can they do it on a 10-year time frame, which is unfortunately my time frame as an investor, is an open question. The jury is still out.
Thank you, Samuel. Okay, so I'm going to move on from the regional expansion point for now, and let's talk about consumer trends in the region, or trends in consumer behavior. Andrew, maybe you can start. And what do you see as some trends in Indonesia, and how will that affect demand for your products going forward?
I think in general, consumers will continue to seek alternatives, right, for the previous incumbents in the region, right, and so for us, I think we had an industry that was very early innovation in the decades, right? So Indonesia is really a young, tech-savvy consumer base that continues to grow, right? So I think the willingness to try new things in Indonesia is just continues to pick up as we saw retail shop and the growth that we saw.
Kalau nggak ke Blok M, iya Blok M sih Kebayoran mah.
For us, like, how does that?
Oh bisa, yang mana kan yang kiri?
Foto gue di hotel.
Oh ini? Oh berdua. Tunggu, jangan nutup. Kira-kira. Kok bisa? Kejadian barusan.
Also for the eyewear sector in particular, it's a growing industry, not an industry people's eyesight are getting much worse. That's we're on our devices all the time. People aren't spending time outside, urbanization and so forth.
Oh iya. Enak ya.
Consumers willing to try new things and
Tahu.
people's eyesight.
Sempet tahu, dapat tahu kan?
Certainly not required to that.
Almost 80%.
Cindy, how about you? Do you see any changes in consumer trends in Indonesia that is having an impact on demand for your cosmetic products?
Yeah, for sure. With the rise of e-commerce, one particular sector that we've seen really boom in the past few years is live stream shopping. It really changes the way people shop, especially for beauty. Before, back in the days, people had to consult with beauty advisors
Dia mau stay.
to ask questions because
Oh kirain absen kita pulang.
people want to know, like the right shape finder for the right skin tone. They want to know like product ingredient that's suitable for their skin care. So having live streaming is really easy for them to just go online,
Gue nggak merasakan.
and then ask questions about
Iyalah,
this
jalan dulu.
purchase. So
Iya, gue juga baru tahu.
it's also like a great factor
Bekas wudhu kali, anjay.
grow our online business. In a way, customers now is able to make educated decision before purchasing a product, which I believe that will make online shopping will grow even bigger than what
Di
it
sini
is
kan
now.
pakai emang bawa dua dari awal.
Live streaming is a very big factor and consumers being able to make
Emang tinggal aslinya di mana? Tinggal aslinya di mana?
Great. Thank you for that. And for me, how about you?
Tapi hotel gak pakai PKN kan?
Preferences developing.
Sure. So we just did a pretty big study in partnership with Bain as well as Meta. We surveyed 9,000 people across the 6 core Southeast Asian markets, spanning tier 1, tier 2, 50% men, 50% women, age from 18 to 65. Right? So this is probably the most dense survey that gets done with consumers every year. It's published, you can go read it. But I'll give you the Cliff Notes version of what we said, right? So keep in mind this is a point in time exercise. Our intent is to do this every year to track changes. So given the inflationary concerns this year, there's a lot of value-seeking behavior that's happening across Southeast Asian markets. But new needs are emerging. And please distinguish between wants and needs. And actually, beauty is a great example. If we had run the survey 5 years ago, many consumers would have said beauty is a want. It's not a need. Now, beauty categorically is a need. Right? This is very important. 2, we keep talking about Gen Z. There are probably some people in this room who are Gen Z. I'm very old, so I'm certainly not Gen Z. I'm barely millennial. But we keep saying Gen Zs are different. Yes, they are different, but they're more similar than they are different in their behaviors. This is quite counterintuitive. It's important to understand this. I know this doesn't seem very relevant in Indonesia, but it is relevant in other parts of Southeast Asia. The solo economy is on the rise. What do I mean by solo? Households in which only one individual lives. And Simon, you're from Singapore.
Yeah.
Singapore is going to be exhibit number 1 for this. In 10 years' time, 1 out of 3 households will only have 1 human being living. There you go. And you will see a sea change in how consumer product companies are built pro-silent. Insurgents are taking market share away from incumbents. What does that mean in simple English? New companies less than 10 years old are absolutely taking share from the older companies. Right? And if you're a young person building a new brand, that should excite you. That means that more and more people are willing to take a chance on somebody new, somebody fresh, somebody offering a different perspective.
Paling ke supermarket sih.
Huge concern about wellness, physical wellness, mental wellness, overall well-being. But we talk a lot, we don't necessarily do much about it.
Supermarket.
Okay? So we'll be interested to observe whether this gap closes down or keeps
Gua supermarket.
a lot of value around personalization. People want personalization, but it is hard for companies to deliver it in ways that are affordable. Beauty is a great example. Beauty would benefit tremendously from personalization. If SK can figure out how to do it, they can make so much money. Right? But it's hard to do because everybody's different. And finally, AI, the obligatory AI conversation. In our region, AI is going to come in an interesting way. We have multiple languages, multiple preferences, the ability of generative AI to offer fast options for brands to build propositions, digital collateral, and test it on the cheap very fast is going to be interesting. So these are the 7 takeaways that we gathered, but I encourage you to go read the report and come find me if you disagree with me.
And we can find the report on your website,
yes.
your website. Sounds like something we should also spend some time looking at. Thank you for that, Samir. So, since we went to Gen AI, I guess it wouldn't be a tech conference if we didn't touch on it, especially this year. Cindy, could you share if your company is doing anything with Gen AI? What problems do you think can solve?
So we're currently still on the stage where AI is still on the research for us, but one particular area that we think will be efficiently improved is customer service. To be honest, right now our customer service is still pretty manual and it can take a lot of time. So I feel like by using AI it could be really helpful to address this issue with having no wait time in replying customers and also having like a very personalized human-like chat to our customers. So I think it can really enhance the customer experience.
Right. Thank you, Cindy. And how about you? How is Gen AI being used in Saturdays and what problems do you think that might be able to solve?
I think right now we're currently using AI for brand recommendation. So we have on our app we have the ability to kind of it's like Gen 1, right? So still improving, right? But it will essentially scan your face, see the size of your face, shape, skin tone, and so forth, and then recommend the range that are best suitable. Right? So as this continues to improve, as the technology develops and so forth, we expected the learnings to improve, people buying, people trying on, and as you get smarter, it basically will recommend better, have better selections for the customer. So this can be used both online and offline. So the number one thing that we get from customers is what looks good on my face, right? They don't know exactly what they should buy, right? And that's why they come to our stores. So you can provide a better experience online or in the stores through technology, through AI. It makes the customer's decision process much easier, right? So we expect this to continue to develop and improve. Also, then the next step is personalized recommendation. I think Samir mentioned before. So as customer is already scan their face, know the sizing and so forth. Then whenever you get new products,
to like it, and you don't feel threatened, intimidated by it. Actually, there's some robots like this in the US, and the children actually are scared of them, and that's not a good sign. But when we bring this robot to the government, we will show later, it's much easier for them because I think that, this looks like a toy, so there may be no harm to the traffic. So why do we choose instant food and grocery delivery? Because when you are hungry, you really need something to deliver to you right now, so you are willing to pay much more. But for e-commerce delivery, you can wait a little bit of time, so you are not willing to pay as much. So there's higher profit margin there. So currently, our cost of delivery is about 80 cents per kilometer, and by 2026, we'll get it down to about 20 cents per kilometer, which is about the same as human delivery cost in Vietnam and Indonesia. So it will be the same price. Robot will have the same price as human delivery. So first we have to raise awareness. So I have to bring the robot into so many exhibitions. The one you see on the left is actually our Prime Minister of Vietnam. So he's our super KOL. And then also the media also helps to talk about us. And using this awareness, we bring it and then we talk to the township developer. So in Vietnam we have huge township. Each of them is about 500 hectares. About 50,000 people living there, and there's another township, smaller, but then there's more people staying there. So basically, it's small cities, and they approve because they read on the newspaper about us, they trust us, so they approve so that we can run in their township. And when we really run in the township, there's so many problems surface, so that we can learn about it. For example, the robots, the first time it runs, it saw a lot of chickens on the road. Because some people release the chickens, they raise the chicken in their, in their backyard. So it's the first time the robot know about it, something like that. So it's very unique and signature things in Southeast Asia. I don't think they have this problem in the US. And they also have overheat from very hot countries similar to Indonesia. GPS around connectivity issues, wear and tear, and so on. And all of these problems are good because we learn from it. And then we integrate the learning into the next design so that we can make it better. For example, this is our tentative designs for the next one. As you can see, the changes is a little bit higher, so we can travel on difficult terrain. So not only the robot can travel on the road together with other vehicles, it can go on the pavement as well when it's needed to go. And we are developing a new test site just for the robot. It's a huge investment by our shareholder. And the robot can also read the new versions can read the traffic light and also security barrier, because there's a lot of gated compound where there's security barrier, and then the robot can talk to the barrier and waiting for the barrier to open, and then the robot can go in. And this is the new base, the new platform, the hardware platform. Can you show the first video? This one with the full payload of 30 kg. So you see it can go up the barrier. And then this one. We're using object unparalleled obstacle. Also 30 kg payload. This is parallel. These are early lessons. So we try drifting. Of course, when we're running in real life, we will not do like this. Okay, we need to be safe. Don't be scared because of that. Okay, back to the slide. And this is the max speed. So the new design can go up to 40-50 km per hour, but we will never get that. We just need to make sure that it can run really fast when it needs to. But the average speed is about 15 km per hour. So what you see is, I talk a lot about hardware, but to be honest, eventually hardware is commodity, and the Chinese can manufacture hardware much cheaper than us, which is okay. What we need to own is the software and the AI. And this, we're talking about data collections, because we are allowed to run pilot in the township. We can collect a lot of data. And we can use that data to convert it to AI model. We use it to train the AI model. And we need to make sure that AI model is lightweight enough so that it can travel, so that it's cheap. Because if the AI model is too complicated, it's going to take a lot of processes for the AI chip to handle. So what we need to own is really the AI and the data. We also have help from our partners. Fenica X is our partner. They are shareholder, and we can use their supercomputer AI system. It was about $3 billion USD. They have manufacturing facility. So that's why as a deep tech startup, it's actually very cost efficient for us. We don't have to spend as much as other companies. In this business, in order to be successful, first of course you need to have a very strong R&D team so that you can develop a prototype. And then you bring the prototype so that you can test it in real life. But in order to be tested in real environment, you have to be approved by the government. So you have to send a team to talk to them, to explain to them, to convince them to allow you to test. And if they allow you to test, then you can collect more data, and you use that data to make the AI model stronger. So for this business, you need to have a strong team in R&D and also a strong team in government affairs. And because of our early success, there's a lot of partnership we're going to announce. We are not allowed to announce here because of NDA, but basically a top global F&B brand and top supermarket chain and a 3PL provider and logistic provider in Vietnam. We are going to sign contract with them and deploy it in Vietnam very soon. We also talk to the government because we need to explain to them how this works. Otherwise, if they're scared, they will ban us, right? And if this robot is banned, then our business is no more. But luckily, in the new law of transport, they already allow the new type of vehicles for autonomous vehicle to run on the roads. So we talk to the Ministry of Police, we talk to the Ministry of Science and Technology and Transport. And because they never have any framework, any standards for robots, so we have to help them to create it. So we introduced them to other frameworks in the world, like Singapore, like US, and then we tell them that we think this is more suitable for Vietnam. It's up to them to decide, but we help them to do the homework, to do the research, so that eventually when the law is passed, then our robots are ready to run on a full scale. So this is the step I was talking about. So for the last 6 months, we run the pilot with 0 accidents. And then we will use that data. We say that, okay, now that we are set, we are allowed to run more in more of the township. And then we keep updating the government, even they never ask us to. And we eventually convince them to expand the radius. For example, a township is about 5 kilometer radius. We can convince them to expand to 6 kilometers, 7 kilometers, 10 kilometers. And eventually we can convince them to run the whole city and then the whole country. Other problems that we have to deal with is insurance, because everyone will ask, what if accident happens, who's going to pay for that, and so on. So this is how it was for all the AV industry. In the beginning, the manufacturers like us will have to pay for it, because not a lot of insurers, willing to provide. But eventually, when there are more and more robots run on the road, they have enough data, because when accident happens, unlike with humans, right? With robots, you actually have data, you have log. You know why the accident happened. You know how you can fix that. Luckily, there are some partners in Singapore. They have worked with robots before, and we are implementing a new program with them. They are willing to offer this service. I'm surprised too, but very happy. Unemployment is another potential issue, because what if these robots are adopted widely? It means that all of the grab bike, project drivers, they will be out of job, and that will cause a social unrest. So we will try to face this head-on. So we agree to set aside at least 10% of our profit before tax to put in the foundations, so that we can retrain and reskill those who lost the job due to robot. We can help them to become our technicians, teleoperators, maintenance, and so on, so that they can have a more valuable jobs and a more sustainable one. So why do we have to do this? I mean, it's very tough. It's so many steps, and each step is also very difficult. Why do we want to do this? Because we think that one day all of our deliveries will be done by robots, and we don't think that future is very far away. So it's a huge market. So imagine all of the orders being done by robots. So the business model is that Grab and Gojek, they take about 25% of the delivery fee. For us, because we become the driver, the robot is the driver, we'll take a 75% fee. So go to and Grab, they are giants today because they take 25% fee. We will take 75% of the fee. So we think that's why this is huge, and that's why we want to do this. Just so that someone's curious about the name, so we're really fan of Isaac Asimov, and he's very famous for the 3 laws of robots, which you can search on Google later if you are interested. If you're a fan, you already know. So basically, the robot has to protect human being. Robots help human being and not become, Skynet. This is all the township that we are allowed to run in, and we will spend more and more in the future. So that's it. I think it's Q&A now. Thank you. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, hello. Question. How do you deal with security of your equipment? How you secure? You know that on the roads, we have a lot of thugs, thieves, and not to mention about some organization who want to fight back, something like that. You know what I mean? And if something happens to your equipment, I mean the robot, are there any laws that cover?
So the robots is actually the company's properties, right? So if someone damages the company's or steal the company's properties, there's already laws to protect us. But yes, I'm sure that when you guys watch the videos, I also have questions about if someone just steal it, especially in these countries. In Vietnam, it happens a lot too. First, the robot is not, it's quite heavy. It's about 50 kg, so it's not easy to take it up. We also have security features, so it detects that it's being picked up, and it will sound the alarm. Something like ambulance and then firefighting, and then it can scream very loudly, "Help me! Help me! Someone help me!" It can send a GPS to our command center, and there's a response team. For example, in each township or each district, there's a response team, and if something alerts, we will send our people go straight there and take care of that. So it's a problem that we have to take care of. But it also happens in the US, and they also have features to deal with that. So yes, it's going to be a problem, but most of the problems have solutions. Yes. Thank you for the question.
Hi, thank you. Very exciting technology, right? I have a question. I'm not sure about Vietnam, but in Indonesia, for example, traffic sometimes is not, traffic laws are not obeyed. Like cars go against the current and so on and so forth, and people jaywalk, right? How advanced is your LiDAR technology and your algorithm in ensuring that it doesn't hit people or it doesn't go in the road when it's not supposed to?
Sure, thank you. So, before I answer those questions, I have to share about the way we approach things, right? We don't need to do everything at once. We don't need to deal with the most difficult situation at once. We can slowly, we can gradually progress to where we need to. So at first, for example, you're talking about AI, right? It's a software, so we can do FEV, we can do basic. But then, if we do too advanced, too early, it will cost a lot of resources and kill the company. So we go where we can first, for example, the township, the campus, where it's very easy to do. You can run there. But yes, eventually, it has to be able to be smart enough to run in the city like Jakarta. It's going to be quite unthinkable, but it's not impossible. Because a robot is actually quite obedient. It just keep right or keep left, depends on the country. And if you see the obstacle, it just wait for the obstacle, and then it can go around, and then keep going straight. Yes, sometimes things happen. If people drive too fast and didn't know that there's a robot there. But the problem will be less and less in the future because they are more aware of the robot. Currently, we are deploying it in the township, so we have to put the signs everywhere. Hey, beware, there's a robot. They were like, okay, what's going on? And they look at it and say, oh, okay. So So the next time I come back, I know that there's something like that traveling on the road. So yet AI has to become so smart that it has to drive like human being. But we don't need to get there today. But we can still generate revenue today. Because as a consumer, you don't care how someone or something ship your food, as long as it can arrive safely for you. Thank you. Yes, please.
Hi there. Given that in Southeast Asia, most of the building structures, I guess the population density is quite dense, yeah? And we're used to getting deliveries to the door. How do you see that? Would that be a barrier to your business model? Because, you know, as a customer, I would like to receive it at my door. I don't want to go downstairs, down to the lobby, to go outside and to pick up the item. So do you see that could be quite a barrier to your delivery process?
I agree. So first, high density is really good because high density is where a food delivery model can work. A lot of people order it. So you're talking about actually hardware and a little bit of software problems where the robots can go in the lobby, go in the lift, go straight to your door. It can be done, and we think that by the end of next year we can do that. But for now, even with the current versions, there's still a lot of demand already because a lot of high-rise buildings in Vietnam, they do not allow the delivery guys to go upstairs. But I know that UAE and in some of the area, yeah, I mean, for me too, I asked the delivery guy to go straight to my door because I don't want to go down. I mean, my I'm too lazy to do that. So yes, we will get there. But like I say, the software, the hardware, we grow, and when we need to,
Tapi yang
we
gue
try
bantu
not to
ini
go too fast or too slow.
bukan kasih plastik ya.
Because if we try to jam a lot of technology into the robot now, which actually is very expensive for the staff and for the hardware. But yes, we will do that. It is not hard, by the way, because if we can travel outdoor together with other cars and motorbikes, we can go indoor easily. We need to integrate with a smart lift so that we can control the lift, but that's it.
Thank you. Continuing on this question, right? Southeast Asia, high density city, and also there are a lot of players already in, for example, delivery, right? And there's also an expectation of a low delivery fee to the point that a lot of these startups, I was in one actually in a Southeast Asia ride-hailing and delivery startup. They have to resort to batching, right? Batching multiple orders to make sure that your unit economics make sense. How do you do this in a way that it's effective in that you're batching in the right way, like you're delivering the right good to the right person, and to make sure that the person picking up is not taking someone else's things? Is there like a different locker system or something like that? Yeah.
It's gonna have to be multiple lockers. So you're right. Batching is the key to lower the cost even further. But the whole reason why we do this is because we want to lower the last mile delivery cost. And we think that as we scale, right, like 5,000 robots, 10,000 robots, the cost definitely cheaper than human. Then we do batching. The technology is not that hard. It's just that the first two versions we don't want to do that yet. We want to prove that the robot can go from A to B. Yeah. So it's going to have to be multiple lockers, and you can only unlock your lockers and pack your own food. Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other questions? All right, thank you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that was our last station. Thank you very much to Nguyen An as co-founder and CEO of Alpha Asima Robotics for this insightful session. And ladies and gentlemen, I would like to inform you, for those who have Pro Pass holder, you may attend and you can join after Demo Day and Networking Night located at Glass House, 8th floor. Once again, if you are a Pro Pass holder, you can join the Antler Demo Day and Networking Night located at Glass House.